Every single detail is in this video. I am going to show you, number one, how to know when it's time to change your chain. Number two, all the procedures I use to clean the chain, the chemicals, the tools, the equipment. Number three, I'm going to show you how to size the chain and make sure it's the right size for your bicycle. And lastly, number four, I'm going to show you exactly how to use squirt wax for the best results. So let's go to the secret lab and I'll show you how to do it.
How do you know when it's time to change your chain? Let me show you exactly how to do it. This is my favorite tool. It's the Park Tool CC4. You will put this little hook into the backside of a roller, and this little poker right here will go in between the links. You will try to keep it perfectly level, and then you will squeeze the chain to make it tight so that the roller pushes up against this little hook. Then you're gonna see if this piece actually goes into the chain. So let me show you how this is done. Place this on the inside right here. This piece goes in and then it's going to be level. You can see it's level, so it's not tilted up or tilted down. You can see there's more space right here than there is over here. So I'm going to get it level, and then I'm going to take my fingers and I'm going to squeeze and tighten it so that the actual chain is pulled up into there so it's nice and tense against that roller right there. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if this slides in, and you can see that it actually slides in there, but it does not go past that second rivet. In this particular case, this chain is now ready to be changed.
Now I use 10-speed chains, and the recommendation is if you have an 11 or 12-speed chain and the tool measures 0.5, you should change the chain immediately. You can actually wait until the tool measures 0.75 on a 10-speed chain, but I do it on 0.5, and the reason why is because when the tool measures 0.5, how do you know that it's not 0.6 or 0.7? So to me, that starts to accelerate the wear on the cogs of the rear cassette. And so I want to try to extend the life of the rear cassette, so I'm going to change it when it starts to become 0.5. As the chain wears out, it starts to wear out at an exponential direction. So once it hits 0.5, it's not going to be long before it's a 0.75. You're going to buy a chain anyway, so I say just change it, and you'll just always have smooth shifting. It's like having grades in school. If you have an A and then you stop studying and your grades start going down to a B to a C, why wait until it's an F before you start studying again? Now you've really screwed the pooch, and you may need another cassette. That's expensive. So now we're gonna look at a normal chain.
So I'm gonna take the hook, I'm gonna put it on one of the inner pins, and then I'm gonna make sure that this one right here is in and it's perfectly level. I'm gonna squeeze the chain upwards. I'm gonna make sure a lot of tension is on the roller right here, and then we're gonna see if we can actually get this to go in. And you can see now, I'm gonna try to force it in there, and it will not go in. This chain actually still has some life in it, even after 5,000 miles. What are the tools and materials that you need to get this job done? Dog barking. Let me show you exactly what you need. First thing that you're going to need is your choice of chain. I'm using the KMC 10-speed chain, the SL, which is super light. So you're going to need 2 jars for the degreaser and 2 jars for the cleaner. I'm going to use mineral spirits. Now some people will use gasoline or turpentine. This is just as good, so don't worry about it. Then the second thing that I'm going to use, and by the way, what this does is it's going to get all the factory grease off my chain. That's the whole purpose of this. And then this is to take the layer that this has off. I'm going to use this 91% isopropyl alcohol. Now some people will use denatured alcohol for this, however in California they banned it. Because that's what we do here, we ban things and make laws. And then what you'll need to do is go into your wife's bathroom. Somewhere in the bathroom is one of these things. Let me see if we can find, yep, here it is. Okay. Your wife has one of these things. I know that you don't know what this is, but it's a hair dryer with a heating part to it. I know you're wondering, what the heck is he gonna do with the hair dryer? Why does this have to do with waxing your chain? I will explain, but make sure and use it when your wife doesn't know that you're using it. Then of course we're gonna need our chain lube, our squirt wax. You're gonna need a tool to cut the chain to make it the right size. By the way, I'm gonna put all the links to these things in the description down below. You're gonna need this. This is to open and close the quick link for the chain. Gonna need a Sharpie. Gonna need some type of brush to clean the rear cogs of the cassette. Gonna need a rag, old shirts. This is a coat hanger that I broke up and made. And the whole purpose of this is when you hang it up like this, it's gonna be used for the chain. Oh, and some gloves, because it's not fun getting all these chemicals on your skin. And then lastly, you're gonna need some Lactigo. And the reason why is, number one, they're today's video sponsor, but also when you've done all this stuff to your chain, you wanna use this to give you even better results. I'll show you how in the end. Step one, I'm gonna take off the old chain and size the new chain. Assuming you did it right the first time, if this chain is the right length, then all you have to do is just compare the old chain to the new chain, cut it, make it the same size. But if you're changing the rear cassette or anything like that, making it bigger or smaller, then you'll need to resize the chain, and I'll show you both ways. First, let's take off this chain. So what I've done here is I found the master link. It's just as simple as just putting this tool in here, squeezing it, and it just comes right off. Now my workbench is not long enough to spread it out. I don't want to put it on the ground. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to match inner plate with inner plate and then just kind of measure and follow until I find the link that will need to be cut. Now what you'll find is an old chain that's worn out will lengthen. So I'm just going to match each roller pin with each roller pin until I get to the end of the new chain. Now in this particular case, right here is the master link. So what happens with the new chain is I need to cut right there. Now this is why I have a Sharpie. What I'm going to do so I can remember where it is I'm just going to go in and do a circle so I remember which one it is I'm supposed to cut. So now you're going to use your chain cutting tool to push out that rivet, and you just start tightening it. And you'll hear a little crack, which is the most satisfying thing for a chiropractor, and you just push that pin all the way out. So here's a piece of anatomy that we should go over. This right here is the pin. That little structure right there goes inside that hole. Now that hole is the roller. This thing rolls over this pin. And what we're going to try to do is to try to clean in between there. So what we want the wax to do is to get in that hole, in between the roller and the pin, and also in between the little space between the roller and the internal plate, as well as the little space, tiny space between the outer plate and the inner plate. When wax gets in there, then it's going to reduce the friction on the metal parts, and the metal parts will last longer. Now the second way to size a chain, if you're not sure if the first chain was done correctly, or if you just want to double check, or if you change the rear cogs, is to take your brand new chain, thread it through the biggest chain ring here and the biggest rear cog. And I'm going to bypass the rear derailleur. So I'm going to put it on the big cog on the back. I'm going to thread it through the front derailleur, and then I'm going to hold this one right here at about 6 o'clock, and then I'm going to pull this nice and tight. And what you want to do is make sure that you are accounting for the fact that on this chain you're going to have a quick link or a master link. So when you bring it up like this, you're going to hook it on to the chain ring, and you're gonna bring it to where they will actually meet. So like versus like. So this is where the inner plate and the inner plate will essentially come together. So it's at about this one here. Then you're gonna add 1.5 more links. So you go 1 pin, 2 pin, and that second pin is where we will actually break the chain. And because this correlates with the first method that I used, that we know that this is a properly sized chain. Step 2, now that the chain is off, I'm gonna clean really well my chain rings and also the rear cogs of my cassette, so that when I put my new chain on, these are gonna be just perfect. For this, I'm just gonna use some simple green and a clean rag and go ahead and get all the dirt and stuff that's been developing on this, on these things for the last 3,000 miles. Now when you clean the cassette, one of the things that you want to do is, if you have disc brakes, is you want to make sure none of the cleaner gets on the disc brake. So what I'll do is I'll just wrap it in a towel, the actual disc brake like this, wrap it around so that making sure that none of the cleaner gets on the disc brake. Just a little hack right there. Look how clean I got my cassette. And this cassette has about, well, actually, come to think of it, it has exactly 3,000 miles on it. So I just did a real quick cleaning, didn't even take it off. That's pretty clean. So I filled up just enough to cover the chain. And now the important thing is, with the mineral spirits, for about 2 minutes, what you want to do is you want to agitate the chain. So let's agitate it. What you doing, chain? You gonna get clean? Huh? You gonna get clean? What's up with you? What are you gonna do? You gonna wuss out, chain? Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me? I don't think you're talking to me. You can agitate in a number of ways. I suggest just shaking. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna leave this for maybe about 5 or 6 hours, and then I will put it in another bottle once it's got some of the grease out. I will put it in another container with fresh mineral spirits, and then that should be enough to get all the grease, factory grease, off this chain. So it's been about 6 hours sitting in the mineral spirits, and let's see how it looks. Oh my God. Look at that. That is... Now let me tell you that this was not a dirty chain. This was a brand new chain. All this stuff that you see right here is actually the grease from the factory. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go over here, I'm gonna get a new bottle. Let's do this one. And how this is gonna work is I am going to transfer my chain into this new bottle, put new mineral spirits in there, continue to clean it for another couple hours, and we'll see how it looks. Now, first of all, just to show you, look how clean this chain is already. There's like no grease on it. Even though I'm going to go ahead and put it in for another couple hours, this chain is basically just metal. Now, as you can see, the mineral spirits are totally clear in this particular one.
So let's give it about 3 hours. I'm gonna agitate it again, but I'm not gonna do the same joke. And we'll see if there's any more grease that comes out of here. So it's been about 3 hours in the second cycle, and you can see that it's actually pretty clear. So it's pretty clear. So that's as clean as it's gonna get. So let's take it out of here and put it in the alcohol. So because this is super clear, I'm gonna use this for the next time I do this on my chain. Okay, so I'm just gonna get all the stuff off it.
That chain is sparkling clean.
It is sparkly clean. I mean, there is nothing.
You could wear it as around your neck as jewelry.
Actually, there are people that may do that. I am not one of them.
Cycling bling.
And put it in here. Because that's actually...
You don't want to drink it.
No, we don't want to drink it. But it's also, we have to take it to the hazardous waste place.
Yes. It's always good to dispose of your hazardous waste responsibly.
You do that so sexy. So now...
Hazardous waste.
I'm going to just pour the isopropyl alcohol in. And what this is going to do, it's going to further clean it, but it's also going to really dry it real well.
Those old spaghetti sauce jars come in handy.
So now I'm just going to agitate it a little, get it in there, and I'm going to keep it in here for a couple hours just to let it do its thing. And I'll come in the garage. When I come in the garage for various things, I'll shake it up and just let it soak in there in the isopropyl alcohol.
Shake, shake, shake.
Shake, shake, shake.
Shake, shake, shake.
Shake, shake, shake.
Shake your bike chain.
Shake your bike chain.
Shake your bike chain.
Let's go have dinner and we'll come back in a couple hours. So it's been in this alcohol for about 3 hours. It's time to take it out. Let's get this chain out. Get close to see how shiny it is.
Ooh.
Is that amazing?
Ah.
Yeah, exactly. Ooh, ah. Look how clean and shiny this is. And what I'm going to do, this is where the hook comes in. I'm just going to hook it. Normally, if I timed this correctly, which I did not today because I started this in the morning, is you could just have this out in the sun and just let it dry in the sun. But we have a little trick if you can't let it dry. The first thing, I'm just going to use a towel, kind of dry it a little bit, get the moisture of the isopropyl alcohol off it. It's funny, when you get a brand new chain, it really is like a thing of beauty. I mean, it's not as beautiful as my wife, but, or anything I've gotten on for my wife. But if you ever want some jewelry, although these are getting expensive.
I bet.
That's why I'm doing this now. So the main reason I started waxing was not because I need watts or because of any performance gains. It's to make stuff last longer. That's one of the real benefits of doing this. This is the hack. So what's going to happen is I'm going to use this hair dryer here. And what I want to do is I want to get all the moisture.
Wait a minute.
What?
Is that my hair dryer?
No, it's not your hair dryer. I got this. I bought it at the store.
Where'd you get it?
At the store.
Why did you buy a hair dryer? I have one in the house.
Well, no, I went to the store. They just...
How much was it?
They gave it to me.
They just gave you a hair dryer?
No, honest, they just gave it to me. They just said here. Here. They just gave it to me.
Hey, I know it's California and you can take whatever you want these days, but
they just gave
how much
it to
did
me.
you pay for it?
They just gave it to me. So I'm going to put it on high heat. Actually, how do you make it high heat? Oh, there, it's nice and hot. So I'm just going to get it super warm. This has hollow pins, so I'm going to go from the side as well to get the moisture out of those pins. And just get this nice and hot, and then it'll be totally dry, and then we're going to put it on the bike. So now we're going to place it on the bike.
You ready, old girl? You're getting a new chain.
Okay.
This is Mistress 2, right?
Yeah. Some chains are directional, so you want to check the direction of the chain. Most of the time, most chains, if they have a symbol or their emblem, it's going to be on the outside. That's the way that you do it. These chains in particular, the ones I got, are not, there's no direction to it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take
I'm going to take the chain off the front chain ring and let it just hang there. And that way I'll have room to put the quick link on. And here's the important part. Right now, because the chain is warm, make sure your squirt wax is warm. It'll absorb better into the places that it needs to do it. And when you use this quick link, what you want to do is place some wax right there. All it needs is a little bit, and we're going to place it in like this. And then we're going to place a little bit of wax right here. Back one is working. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this over like so, put it on the chain. I'm just going to get it around. I'm going to take it down, hit the brakes on the right, and then where is it? It's right there. I'm just going to pedal. There you go. And it just popped right in. You can see right there that the master link is now secure and in, and it's pretty solid. These are reusable on the KMC. Some are one use only, but people use them all the time anyway, but these are actually really usable. When you first apply the squirt wax, what you're going to do is you're basically going to marinate your chain in this stuff. And the goal is for it to be absorbed between the pins and the rollers and the inner plates and outer plates. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do this, and at the end of the video, I actually have some videos that we've done in the past to show you the best way to get the most amount of money out of a bottle. So make sure and watch that video. But I'm gonna go on the top as well as the bottom, and then there's a little trick I'm gonna show you in just a minute to make sure and try to get it between the inner plates and outer plates and to get this stuff absorbed more into your chain. So I'm gonna start at the master link, and what we're gonna do, and this is the little hack, is we're gonna take the chain and put it on the big ring here and the big ring over here. And you're not supposed to really do this per se because it's cross chaining, but what it's gonna do, it's gonna put a lateral stress on the actual chain so that it'll open up little tiny spaces and the wax will get deeper into the chain. So let's go ahead and do that. So the little hack was this: the most amount of strain is actually right above the big rear cog. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some wax just right there. It's not going to go over the entire part of the chain. It's going right on top of the roller and on each side of the outside plate as well as the inside plate. So I'm just going to go like this. Just place the wax there. We're going to go back. Wouldn't that be funny if I ran out of squirt wax about right now?
Are you going to?
No, I'm not. But this bottle is getting a little light.
Getting a little light.
It's a little light. So I do have another bottle, so I'm safe if...
When you pick it up and you go,
like when you pick up the milk and it's empty. What I'm doing is I'm putting it on top of the chain because I'm going to hit this chain from a 360-degree angle, because normally when you re-wax the chain, you're not going to put it on the top of the chain. You're going to put it on the part that actually hits the chain rings. But this is the first time we're applying the wax to the chain, so we're going to do it on both sides. Do a couple revolutions of pedaling, then we're going to let it sit overnight, and then I'm going to put it on tomorrow. I have to work, So I'm gonna put it on in the morning before I go to work and then let it sit all day. Probably put one more coat on tomorrow night, and then Thursday I'm gonna go in the dirt. Spent this entire day cleaning this chain, making it meticulous, and I'll probably go ride in some dirt. But we'll see how much fun that is. That's why we're doing this. But it will keep your chain and all your gearing a lot cleaner. That's the other benefit of this, besides the chain lasting longer and your rear cogs of your cassette lasting longer, is actually, this just happened this past Sunday. I actually got a flat tire. I got a pinch flat because I ran into a pothole, and I had to change my tube in the back of my tire, and my hands were totally clean because the chain was waxed and did not have any oil on it. Okay, so that's one revolution. So what we're gonna do now is I'm just gonna pedal it. Just kind of let the wax get into the little crevices of the rollers and the pins and the plates. Gonna go backwards. And again, I'm cross-chaining simply to try to get some lateral stress on the chain.
Can I make a comment?
You can make a comment.
Not for your video?
Not for the video, okay. You know we're gonna put this in, right? All right, go ahead, tell me.
It's supposed to be in charge, but it's the weakest link.
Okay, we're not gonna put that in the video. All right, so now I'm gonna do it on the opposite side of the chain. So there is my quick link, and again, I'm gonna just marinate the whole chain in this stuff, and I'm getting it in just the right places so that I can get the most out of a bottle.
How come you don't pay this much attention to me?
Who?
Me. Me.
Oh, you. Are you serious? You want to know the answer? First of all, let me explain something to you. Do you know how much your ring costs versus how much these bicycles cost me?
No.
And that's the way it's going to stay. You're never going to know.
Missed one.
What?
Just kidding.
Hey, that's not funny. So now at the end of this video, on one of the corners, two of the corners, I'm going to put, what do you do in between the rides? How do you clean the chain in between the rides? Because you're not going to go through this whole process ever again for the life of the chain. Once the chain has been cleaned with all the chemicals, never going to do it again until basically I buy a new chain. But how do you take care of the chain in between the rides? I'm going to show you at the end of this video. There's going to be a box. The chain should feel absolutely perfect. In addition to that, if you really want to have a feeling like there's no chain on your bike, that's when you use this stuff. So you apply this Lactigo to your legs 45 minutes before a ride. Enjoy the feeling of feeling as though you're riding your bike without even a chain. There will be a link down below in the description. All right.